My department, which is physics, is already pushing white fragility, anti-racism, and saying that's the idea that saying the phrase, "I don't see color," is a microaggression. Where is my time best spent if I wish to simultaneously improve diversity and inclusion while pointing out the problems with these ideologies? So that's a very tough question. The kind of diversity and inclusion that is now being pushed by the race-conscious anti-racist movement of the kind that is embodied in white fragility is a purely cosmetic diversity. If you're in a physics department, what they're going to tell you is that the department is racist. Institutionally, it doesn't matter if you yourself harbor any racist bias. The structure is set up to privilege white people, and so you just have to push Black people and and women and people of color more broadly through whatever filter of quality you have in order to determine who gets to be in that department. And anything less than whatever arbitrary number that they come up with, whether it's 14% or however they determine how many Black people should be there, anything less than that number is synonymous with you're continuing to be racist. Now, this is obviously a problem from the perspective of someone who is thinking about what is just and fair, because there are a limited number of spots in whatever department you teach in. And to arbitrarily privilege someone because of their race is synonymous with closing the door on someone else. So how we negotiate that, we should not just assume that the only kind of justice there can be is to give a Black person the spot, right? We have to have some notion of diversity and inclusion that acknowledges spaces that have been historically excluded Black people, spaces where the culture can be alienating for people of color just because there's a kind of inertia of white Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture that has been present in that institution. If it's a school that's old, for example, you might be alienating to people, to outsiders in ways you don't realize. I think all of that stuff is what I would mean if I were to advocate for diversity and inclusion. There is work to be done there, but it can't just be synonymous with achieving a cosmetic diversity where we're going to pretend that there are an equal number of qualified applicants already, and that any lack of parity in our institution simply reflects our own bias, right? In the first place, it brings up questions of justice to the other people, many of whom do not come from privileged backgrounds, that are being held down under that system. It also brings up the question of, it's a way of ignoring the deeper problems of, well, why aren't there enough Black applicants, say, for filling the spot? What's going wrong earlier in the pipeline such that there aren't enough qualified candidates, right? You can paper over that problem, not ask those tough questions, not be forced to confront the evidence of the disparity in preparedness between different groups of people by simply elevating people past a certain threshold.